7th, 2023. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
McKeever.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Wireball.
Here.
Potter. Sherrick.
Here.
Spiegel.
Sure.
Young.
Here.
All right, you have before you the minutes from the January 17th, 2023 regular council meeting. Do you see any additions, corrections? If not, I would entertain a motion to accept as provided.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Wireball, a second by Mr. Myers. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You also have before you the January 25th, 2023 special council meeting. Does anybody have any additions or corrections? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve as presented. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Myers, a second by Mr. McKeever. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We now are granting permission for visitors to speak, and Chief Austenheimer has some awards that he's going to be presenting.
Yeah, thank you. Ma'am, I appreciate the opportunity to come up here. It's always nice when you get to recognize the people that you work with. Today I'm here to present awards to Officer Devin Wireman, Lieutenant Curt Bursby, and Dispatcher Jennifer Gerger. I think probably everybody in this room is aware of the incident that happened on November 11th. We had Dispatcher Gerger was alerted of an active shooter in Crawford County that was possibly heading toward Bucyrus. She broadcast the vehicle description that was given to her. Officer Wireman and Lieutenant Bursby both put themselves in the area where the vehicle would be, and Officer Wireman located it within minutes of the broadcast. He made a traffic stop when Lieutenant Bursby was right behind him, immediately took fire from the vehicle that stopped him. Officer Wireman returned fire, subdued the suspect with one shot. Well, one shot that hit him, he fired multiple rounds. And then he and Lieutenant Bursby both heroically rushed up to the vehicle and took the guy into custody. Like I said, I couldn't be more proud of those guys. Like I said, it's always great when you get to recognize your people for the excellent work that they do. Like I said, I think they showed tremendous courage in approaching the vehicle and taking this guy into custody. He was shooting at him with a rifle, and they were both armed with pistols. So they were outgunned. I do remember when I got to the scene, Officer Wireman was with Officer Graves, who came in off duty to assist when he heard the gunfire from his off-duty status and put himself in the scene as well. I remember talking to Devin, and he said that you're probably not surprised that it was me. He tends to find a lot of bad people, and I reminded Devin that good cops find bad people, and that for that reason I was not surprised that it was him that was involved in this incident, because he's really good at finding bad people in this community, and the same with Officer Graves and our other officers that we have working here. Like I said, I've talked about Lieutenant Bursby and Officer Wireman's heroic actions that day, but often the people that are forgotten are our dispatchers. When I got the call at home that something had happened, I immediately came in. I could definitely hear in Jenny's voice that this was definitely different than any other incident that I was being called in for. And as you had a chance to go back and review the video and the radio traffic and the phone calls and everything that came in for that, it was immediately apparent that Jenny did her job exceptionally well that day as well. There's other people that I think that the Bucyrus Police Department owes a sincere thank you to. I would like to thank Sheriff Kent and Deputy Chad Filiator. They were immediately on the scene after the shooting and was able to provide assistance to us. There's numerous Bucyrus police employees that were called into work and that responded to the scene to help. I believe every one of our dispatchers came to the station that night. When I got there, Tyler Elk was already sitting in the second dispatch chair in civilian clothes helping out. The Bucyrus Fire Department also responded, made sure everybody was okay. And they also gave Officer Wireman a place to kind of get out of the mainstream of the activity there and be in the back of the ambulance. And John Gobrick and his staff from Pazzanella's Pizza. That happened right down the road from them. But during the incident, it started to rain, and John provided us with some plastic cups to cover up the shell casings so they didn't get wet while we were waiting for the crime scene people. They also brought pizzas down to the station and on to the scene for the people that were there all night long. Dave Garrick in the back is from the Ohio Labor Council. It's a union that represents our officers. He responded to the station as well, and it was, for me, very easy to work with throughout this entire process. And I'd like to thank you guys back here as city council members for providing us the funding to replace all of our recording equipment and our body cameras in our cars. I think that we had the worst case scenario, and this is the scenario that you hope would never happen, but because of, you guys providing us that funding, we had indisputable video evidence of what actually happened that day. And it's especially important because the old camera on Officer Wireman's cruiser that was in the front was not working anymore prior to being replaced. And lastly, I would like to thank all of our citizens in this community for the overwhelming support that they have showed us before, after, and during this incident. This community has been nothing short of amazing. I would happily say that I did not receive one negative phone call of anyone complaining about accountability or lack of transparency or wanting to see our officers brought up on charges or anything like that. I did not get a single call. And I think for the community to support us like that, it's a great honor to be in a community that supports us like that. I'm kind of get started with the awards here. I'm going to start with Officer Wireman, being that he's right here. I have a commendation of valor for Officer Devin Wireman for courageous performance during the arrest of an armed suspect on November 11th of 2022. With this presentation is a Medal of Valor and also a ribbon to be worn on his daily uniform. Like I said, this would be for his, to be worn on his dress uniform. Like I said, I feel truly humble that, for one, that they didn't get hurt and everything worked out the way that it did, but to be able to present guys like this with an award, it's an honor for me as a chief. So looks like it doesn't have any free hands, so I'm going to set it down on the desk here. Lieutenant Bursby, if you can come on up here. Lieutenant Bursby is also being given a commendation for valor for courageous performance during the arrest of an armed suspect on November 11th of 2022. And again, it's my honor to present this to Lieutenant Bursby for his actions that day. Just like Officer Wireman, it displayed extreme courage in this event. He's also been given a medal for his dress uniform and a pen for his daily wear. Jenny? I kind of surprised Jenny with this one because I think the word had got out that we were going to give Lieutenant Bursby and Officer Wireman awards. And then I came to her and let her know that she was getting one as well. And I think that it kind of took her by surprise. So, Jenny, you are getting a commendation for commendable performance during the arrest of an armed suspect on November 11th of 2022. She's getting this. And she's also getting a ribbon to wear on her dress uniform here as well. So I'm going to present this to you.
Thank you.
That's all I've got for this. Thank you guys very much for your time. Thank you everyone that came up to support these guys. And like I said, this is just one example of the great work that these guys do all here every single day. Thank you. Hey guys, hold on 1 second. Hold on guys, I forgot something.
Recess.
I was just gonna make a motion.
Okay, so we have a motion, can I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, thank you.
7:10. 7:10.
Supervisors. She called me yesterday and said that this was going on and had told me that, you know, they were going to be doing this presentation, and I don't know how I could follow up to his presentation, but I called my office and asked for some recognition as well for the 3 people that are being honored here today. And with that, I'm going to call Lieutenant Bursby for his recognition of heroism on November 11th, 2022, for the incident that happened. That's for you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Dispatcher Gerger. Ma'am, I don't know how you do it. You know, hearing him scream on the radio, I could just imagine what it sounded like on your end. You just don't realize how tough it is when you're not out there and you can't see what's going on. And this young lady has to stay cool, calm, and collected. She's as deserving as the awards as the people that are in there, you know, fighting the battles themselves. So for you, ma'am, you also get the recognition of heroism.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
very
Thank you
welcome.
so much.
And the other guy. So I got to tell you a story. I'm not good with stories, but you know, like 15, 20 minutes after the incident happened, he calls me and he's like, "Hey, I may need you." I mean, if anybody knows him, you know, he's kind of reserved and doesn't say much. And I came into the station, and he's sitting with the other gentleman over there, and they're watching Cops on television. So, you know, it's my job to make sure that procedurally that the people are taken care of at the Bucyrus Police Department, and that you know, we're not going to put them in harm's way. We got to make sure that they get legal counsel and everything like that. This was just seamless and flawless, and I couldn't have been prouder of all the guys that rallied in support, kept me updated. I tried to keep them updated as well. So, Officer Wireman, recognition of heroism from the Fraternal Order of Police, Ohio Labor Council here. So I thank you guys very much for coming out, and it's amazing to see the community support that's here. I have to echo what Chief said about not hearing any negativity. You know, it's my job to comb social media and see that kind of stuff. And there was just absolutely no negativity, nothing but love and support for this community. And thank you for all you guys do and for everything that you do supporting your Bucyrus Police Department.
right, it is
7:21.
7:21. We are back in session. Still granting permission for visitors to speak.
Madam President?
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to add information to hold any comments I have made, not my part of the
That's fine. You'll have a couple other opportunities for speaking. Yes. All right. Do we have any petitions or communications? Seeing none. Standing committee reports. Plating.
I have nothing at this time.
Public lands and buildings.
There's nothing at this time, thank you.
Health and safety.
No report, Madam President.
Finance.
No report.
Economic development.
Mark.
Oh, there's no report. Sorry.
Service.
No report this time.
Traffic
Nothing
commission.
for traffic.
All right. No reports. Moving on. We have report of city officers, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam President. I attended a very good seminar in Sandusky here about a week ago. A lady from Texas came up, talked about historic preservation of buildings, especially in the downtown business district, and a lot of the hoops you have to jump through and so on and so forth. Yeah, if we look around downtown, I think we've been very fortunate. Much of our downtown is preserved. And we have some recent improvements in that district, which, even though they're not, buildings, historic buildings, they've actually accentuated the attractiveness of downtown. I'm mainly talking about the art park, of course. We have a beautiful square, so I think it's an envy of just about any place. We have a dedicated group of volunteers who plant flowers, which is not going to be that far. Thank you. In the future. I think when you come through town, actually I had an executive from Sydney call me this week and said how beautiful our downtown was, and very impressed with the murals, and of course wanted to know more about that too. So I thought that was nice. But we can't rest. You never want to rest in those things. We have one block in particular that needs work. That's Mary Street south of Mary Street north to Perry, and there's some buildings that could use some restoration. This former Second National Bank building on the square is, and it's deteriorating, and certainly could use some TLC and an owner who would care about it. So there was also a webinar the next day on Jobs Ohio that detailed grants up to $1 million for restoration and development projects in the downtown area, and it goes up to a 50-50 match. It's not like most grants; they're not 100%, but 50-50. So, if there's any building owners out there that want to restore their buildings and repair their buildings, there's money out there. So, call us at the office if you have any questions. I think much can be gleaned about a community by the condition of the downtown business district. I always called it the smile of the city. People look for cleanliness. What do the buildings look like? Streets in good shape. They look upstairs at the second and third floors too. Lighting, all those types of things. But we never want to forget that that is our number one place of pride for our community. It's our downtown. And we have to always present a unified effort to make sure that it stays nice. Because if we're trying to attract people and we're trying to retain people, having a nice downtown is one of those pillars that people really respond to and hang on to. Along with things like, say, obviously tonight, safety forces are so important, and the condition of our parks also. So I'll get off that soapbox and jump up on this one here. What Chief Ossenheimer, and I said tonight, you're typically a man of few words, but you were very eloquent tonight and very grateful, and it was very nice, this ceremony. But what he doesn't say about that, he just completed a very rigorous course and was just awarded a designation called CLEE, Certified Law Enforcement Executive. Took him well over a year to do this. He was a graduating class of 30. I attended that last Friday. Very, very impressive. We're going to we're going to talk a little bit about more. I don't want to take anything away from the other officers tonight, so we're going to have Chief back and have him talk a little bit about this in 2 weeks. So, and that's all my report tonight. I have 2 referrals. We want to refer the design work for fiscal year 2023 for the runway light upgrades, which will be done by our CMT, Crawford Murphy and Tillis, to Economic Development and Finance Committee. And then, I'm not sure if this is still in committee. Is the Pines Reservoir still in committee? If not, I've had some people inquire about, restoration or purchasing it, so I think it might be time to start bringing that up again, maybe talk about it. And so if it's already in committee, we'll maybe talk about that Thursday night, so.
Okay. That's in Public Lands and Buildings.
Yeah, I believe it's still open because we
Okay.
had left it sit while we were trying to find out more about it.
Okay.
So we don't have to bring it back in.
All right. Mayor has asked for a referral for the design work for the fiscal year 2023 runway light upgrades. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. And we have the Safety Service Director's report, which is none. And Law Director.
Thank you, Madam President. 2022 was a year in which the city of Bucyrus saw some significant issues, including but not limited to the closure of General Electric, ancillary pandemic issues, union negotiations, and budgetary issues resulting from a compilation of these issues outlined here and above. Throughout it all, however, we have arrived in 2023, and with the hard work and dedication of the administration, council, employees, and the citizens of Bucyrus, we will continue to move forward and continue to make Bucyrus a vibrant community to live and work in. In 2022, the City Prosecutor's Office prosecuted 358 traffic offenses, ranging from equipment violations to driving under suspensions and the like. The approach of the court and the approach of my office on these offenses is to attempt to resolve the underlying issues. For instance, if someone comes before the court with a suspended driver's license, instead of simply issuing a fine or other sanction, I take the time to review their license status with them and let them know how to become valid in hopes they can drive legally in the near future. Oftentimes I have found the individuals simply do not understand the system and what is required of them and become frustrated with the bureaucracy. A few moments of time in court hopefully allows the individual to understand the steps necessary to become a legal and valid driver. The City Prosecutor's Office also prosecuted 961 criminal misdemeanor charges, albeit disorderly conducts, domestic violences, drug-related charges, or the like. As one can probably imagine, the vast majority of criminal activity in our community is directly related to substance abuse. Whether one is under the influence and commits a domestic violence, stealing to support a drug habit, or is improperly taking care of their children based upon drug abuse, or it's actually a drug abuse crime, a vast majority of cases coming through municipal court have a substance abuse component. The other major component is a significant mental health component, whereby people are committing crimes which can be attributed to their failure to have proper intervention with their mental health needs. This being said, I have worked with Crawford County Municipal Court to become creative in sentencing. The court has a strong probation department with Tony Stover, Michelle Rittenauer, Jason Massey, Chris Hahn, and Mickey Skidova. Through these individuals, I've tried to ensure rehabilitation and accountability. We utilize counseling services for both mental health needs as well as substance abuse issues. I've also utilized the reinvention program, which encompasses a physical workout and mentoring program to try and reduce recidivism. Finally, through diversion and the education and vocation program, I have linked people with Megan Murphy to assist in schooling, job training, and obtaining employment in career-oriented fields. The offenders I prosecute are typically either low-level offenders which intervention through the criminal justice system can benefit through connecting these individuals with community resources and motivation, or they are repeat offenders which continue to engage in a lifetime of derelict behavior. The first group is the group I work creatively with to attempt to put the pieces in place to get them to a better place in life. The second group simply gets fines and jail sanctions. This being said, it's important to maintain a strong police force. When drug dealers and others come through our community, it's important that they see traffic stops, police patrolling the streets, and a community that supports their law enforcement. Not too long ago, criminal prosecutions were common for people from Columbus, Cleveland, Detroit, and other such communities. These people weren't in our communities for our parks and small businesses. They were here setting up shop to sell drugs and commit other nefarious acts. They recognized the absence of a strong police force, abandoned properties, and a court system that was not tough on crime and found opportunity to profit. Thanks to the diligent efforts of our police department, surrounding law enforcement agencies, our prosecutors, and both Judge Lutholz as well as Judge Murphy, we have significantly cut back on the out-of-town criminal element. Rest assured, we do not want to return to those days. The city's prosecutor's office not only prosecutes criminal activity, but we also provide victim services. Sam Caldwell is an irreplaceable asset in this respect. We assisted an estimated 151 victims of crimes, as well as a significant amount of victims of uncharged crimes. Whether it's simply notifying the victims of court dates and keeping them informed of negotiation and what's going on in their court process, linking the victims up with resources such as financial reimbursement for property crimes, medical expenses, or the like, attempting to locate housing and stability through Turning Point or other similar agencies, ensuring the safety of victims and loved ones through no contact orders and civil protection orders, or ensuring the wishes of the victims are known and presented to both prosecutor and the court. Our victim's advocate is second to none and an invaluable asset to our office. Finally, as to the criminal charges of failing to file income taxes, 259 of these cases were processed this year. These are only after Kelly Schimpf and Chris Schnabel find the individuals who have failed to file, reach out to them, and try to resolve the situation prior to court intervention. These cases are always resolved in favor of the city, with approximately half of the individuals actually filing their return before their first court date, and the other half being ordered by court to have the return filed within approximately 120 days. Once the individuals do file, Kelly and Chris work with the individuals to come up with a payment plan if necessary, or refer collection activity to the Ohio Attorney General so we can intercept state and federal income tax collection, or state and federal income tax returns. Additionally, once the tax review board is in order again, we can begin to impute wages to non-filers and base their tax on these imputed wages. The imputed wages can be corrected with their real wages, but half the battle is getting the attention of some of these non-filers and getting them to cooperate with doing the necessary things to remedy their failures. Our property maintenance department also works tirelessly to attempt to ensure the vibrancy of our community. I believe I previously gave the statistics of this department to council, and as Gordon Grove is currently laid off, I can't locate his numbers right now. I do know we filed in excess of 20 criminal complaints for property maintenance issues. We probably filed 10 times as many citations and worked with the property owners to ameliorate the issues before having to actually use court intervention. As you're probably aware, this year we were finally able to complete the cleanup of the old Riverside Mobile Home Park. What a difference tearing down those dilapidated buildings has made. I'm also in the process of obtaining bids for the demolition of 415 West Warren Avenue. Some of the other properties that I looked into resulted in significant issues, including the Dudley Street property, which would require hiring a company first to remove all the rubbish from the inside of the house, and then spending $26,000 in asbestos amelioration before demolition could occur. I have reached out to the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency to determine what, if any, grants may become available. A strong and active property maintenance department is necessary to ensure the vibrancy of our community as well as reducing the crime rates. As I said before, when houses are vacant and dilapidated, properties are in disrepair, lawns are unkempt, and the like, out-of-town criminals see an opportunity to move in, conduct business, and not raise any red flags. By tirelessly working to do what we can to ensure the vibrancy of our community, we are investing in our community. As the law director, I've stayed busy over the past year. The lawsuit pertaining to the water treatment plant was settled to our benefit. The suit against the Zoning Board of Appeals was resolved. The suit pertaining to the Open Meetings Act was resolved. The suit pertaining to a potential new internet carrier was dismissed in favor of the city. The other suit pertaining to the expansion of the lease with Verizon Wireless is still pending. However, I anticipate the outcome of that would be similar to the outcome in the internet carrier case. And then there's currently the case pending in the Ohio Supreme Court pertaining to our police department, which I anticipate will be dismissed soon. We are currently obtaining easements and purchasing property for the expansion of our water lines, which is no small undertaking. Further, we are currently discussing options with two property owners, one pertaining to a drainage issue and the other pertaining to an eminent domain case whereby we may take a piece of property in order to construct a small maintenance road so as to have access to maintain a sewer overflow line as is mandated by the Environmental Protection Agency. Finally, and I will have this on with me on Thursday, I've been working on the annexation of additional lands into the city of Bucyrus, which has been an issue which I've spent a significant time working on. I will report more as to what we can do and where we are on Thursday, but it's definitely something we need to always be cognizant and continue to pursue. In 2022, Bucyrus passed approximately 50 ordinances and 50 resolutions. The ordinances are highlighted, in my opinion, by finally vacating the Inez Street alley, passing the designated outdoor refreshment area, rezoning areas around the fairgrounds to allow for investment and expansion, amending the requirements for auxiliary police officers so we can add more officers in that department, investing in our parks and community, and passing legislation by way of income tax to generate additional revenues, and then finally approving police, fire, and AFSCME contracts. Resolutions of note were the hiring of 2 council clerks, working with the Federal Aviation Administration to maintain a viable airport, procuring a new heating system for the water treatment plant, authorizing the sale of 11 parcels of city-owned and unused property, setting up the framework to participate in the opioid settlement, approval of Dr. Haldeman to commence business at 1050 South Sandusky Avenue, and paving the way for the library tax renewal placed on the ballot. I will only need one referral since the mayor already referred the Pines Reservoir, or that's already open. But I also, and I think Dan had talked about this, but in public lands, I've been contacted by a couple different solar energy companies that are interested in leasing some of the farmland to have solar energy farms. Finally, I would like to thank each and every one of you for your hard work and dedication over the past year. I know it's not always easy, and at times can feel like we're getting nothing done. In my opinion, nothing could be farther from the truth. A republic democracy isn't created so that things happen overnight. As member of council, you bring your thoughts, expertise, life experience, and dedication to the cause and to the table, and work to do the best job for the people of the city of Bucyrus. I think this was accomplished in 2022, and we can build forward in 2023. Thank you.
Very good.
Our new auditor, Lewis, it says no report, but welcome. All right, we have the treasurer's report that was sent to you for the year end. I need a motion to accept and file.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. McKeever, a second by Mr.
Mr. Myers.
Mr. Myers
And Mr. Young.
and Mr. Young. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Nothing from Chief Officer. Fire Chief did email his report. You have it? Okay. So I need a motion to accept and file.
So moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Sherrick, a second by Mr. Myers. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to accept the city officers' reports as presented.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Spiegel, a second by Ms. Sherrick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now's the time for visitor input regarding the standing special committees of the city. Nope, okay. Consideration of proposed legislation for the first time.
Okay. Ordinance number 04-2023, authorizing and directing the Bucyrus Public Service Safety Director in behalf of the City of Bucyrus, Ohio, to advertise for bids and to enter into a contract or contracts not to exceed $1,004,000 with the lowest and best bidder or bidders in connection with the furnishing of the necessary labor, materials, and equipment to improve the portions of the street and alleys identified to the attached Exhibit A, referred to as 2023 Mill and Pave Program, and to the extent that appropriate funds permit, such other portions of streets and alleys for which the City of Bucyrus is responsible for maintenance or implementation, as council may specifically approve, finally authorizing and directing the Bucyrus City Auditor to draw a warrant or warrants in payment therefore from the appropriation or appropriations and declaring an emergency.
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
may I direct your attention and ask the question, where is Exhibit A? It's not attached to this.
It is now.
The notation. It is now?
Yeah. I didn't get it till this afternoon. It's there.
All right, so we're looking at Robin Hood Drive, Cullen Avenue, Cullen Court, Baylor Street, Bryant Avenue, Wheeler Avenue, Union Street, Woodlawn Avenue, Mary Street, Lincoln Avenue, McKinley Avenue, Wayne Avenue, Summer Avenue, Lane Street, East Galen, and the alley between Failer and Union.
Ordinance 05-2023, repealing in its entirety Chapter 909 entitled Trees under Title I, entitled Street and Sidewalk Areas, under Part 9, entitled Streets, Utilities, and Public Service Code of the Codified Ordinance of the City of Bucyrus, and replacing it with the revised Chapter 909 entitled Comprehensive Tree and Planting Plan under Title I, entitled Street and Sidewalk Areas, under Part 9 entitled Streets, Utilities, and Public Service Code of the Codified Ordinance of the City of Bucyrus at sequence as set forth herein. Ordinance number 6-2023, amending and supplementing section 1301.08 entitled Building Setback Requirements under Chapter 1301 entitled Building Permits, under Title I entitled Building Standards, under Part 13 entitled Building Code of the Codified Ordinance of the City of Bucyrus. Ordinance 07-2023, amending and supplementing section 1187.07 entitled Portable Shipping Containers, Storage Containers, and Similar Objects, under Chapter 1187 entitled Additional Residential District Standards, under Title 11 entitled Additional Zoning Requirements, under Part 11 entitled Planning and Zoning Code of the Codified Ordinance of the City of Bucyrus. Ordinance 08-2023, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the City of Bucyrus, Ohio to enter into community reinvestment area agreement with Bucyrus Storage Complex LLC and an income tax agreement with Winford Local School District and the Pioneer Joint Vocational School District, and declaring this act an emergency. Ordinance number 9-2023, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the City of Bucyrus to enter into a contract with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees Local 1728, retroactive to January 1st, 2023, and declaring an emergency. Ordinance number 10-2023, an ordinance amending and replacing ordinance number 40-2020, establishing the compensation and human resource, staffing, sick leave, and vacation of employees of the various departments in the City of Bucyrus, Ohio, and enacting in its place legislation pertaining to the compensation and human resources, staffing, sick leave, and vacation of employees of various departments in the City of Bucyrus, Ohio, retroactive to January 1st, 2023, and declaring an emergency. Ordinance number 11-2023, an ordinance authorizing and adopting the contract with the International Association of Firefighters Local 1120, retroactively to January 1st, 2022. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. As it pertains to pay and declaring an emergency. Resolution number 205-2023, authorizing and directing the Service Safety Director of the City of Bucyrus, Ohio to advertise for bids and to enter into contracts for the purchase of various materials and supplies and declaring an emergency. Resolution number 206-2023, authorizing and directing the Bucyrus Public Service Safety Director on behalf of the City of Bucyrus, Ohio, to advertise for bids and to enter into a contract or contracts not to exceed $237,000, 10% contingency already included therein, with the lowest and best bidder or bidders for the Aumiller Service Road. Finally, authorizing and directing the Bucyrus City Auditor to draw a warrant or warrants in payment, therefore, from the appropriate appropriation or appropriations, and declaring an emergency. That's it.
All right. Do I have a motion to accept these as the first readings?
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. McKeever, a second by Mr. Wireman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Didn't we already pass one of these?
For the, which one of these?
The employment? With the auditor's income office, the
That's
10.
just the elected employees.
Oh, okay, so this is the other ones. I was like, why are we just did this.
Yeah, this is the rest of the.
Okay, did we get that figured out? Because that didn't make it out of finance last time because they had different questions that needed to come up about that.
They requested legislation to add a $1 plus 2% for the next, and then 2% every subsequent year.
Wasn't there something that wasn't right for the fire chief?
They asked the question about what the fire chief, but if you look at the previous legislation, the fire chief's wages are commensurate with the union raise. So when we calculated the fire chief and the police chief's wages, we used the wage scale that would have been found in the union contract, which we have or will approve.
All right, any member of the general public that would like their input on the legislation read for the first time?
Madam President, John Rostash, Zoning Administrator for the City of Bucyrus. I just want to speak to Ordinance 07-2023 and just remind council that we have to have a public hearing on that because that is a change to the zoning code. And so as of today, where it stands is a letter has been written from council to the Planning Commission requesting that the Planning Commission hold a meeting and give their input on this recommendation by the Planning Committee and council to start allowing storage containers to be a conditional use. So Planning Commission is going to meet on this. I'm not sure if a date has been set yet or not, but they'll be meeting on this soon. And then as a result of that meeting, they will then in turn give a letter to council with their recommendation that the legislation move forward with a public hearing. So we can't move forward with really the final reading for sure. We could probably have a second reading on it, but definitely not pass it at the third and final reading until after it's followed through with the appropriate steps to have a zoning amendment made. And so it'll be a little while before we can pass that one because we still have to have the public hearing yet. Thank you very much.
What you're saying is when we get to the third reading, we table it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Got that?
Do we need to do that for that storage facility too? Does that have to have a
No,
public
no,
hearing?
that's not an amendment to the zoning code. That's economic development and the CRA legislation. Yes.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Consideration of proposed legislation for the final time?
That's not all of them.
Huh?
It's only these.
Yeah.
Correct.
Do we need to read those again for consideration of the final time?
You need
Okay.
to refer them back to committee.
Okay, so the consideration of proposed legislation for the final time, I don't need to have a first and a second on that? No? Okay. So that's- Okay, so referring back to the originating committee, proposed ordinance 04-2023, the 2023 Mill and Pave, referred back to finance. Proposed ordinance 8-2023, Bucyrus Complex Storage, referred back to economic development. Proposed ordinance 9-2023, AFSCME, referred back to finance. Ordinance 10-2022, Manpower, referred back to finance. Ordinance 11-2022, Firefighter, referred back to finance. Resolution 205-2022 and 2023, material bids, referred back to service. And resolution 206-2022, Aumiller Service Road, referred back to finance.
Those are all 2023.
Yeah, they should be 2023.
Correct.
Madam President.
Yes, sir.
5, 6, and 7 are not on that list. They also need referred back to health and safety, planning and planning.
Okay.
They're not emergency.
Doesn't matter, after the first reading, they go back to the committee.
So we have ordinance 5,
Health and safety.
health and safety. That's the
Tree ordinance.
tree ordinance. Number 6, back to plating, which is the building setback. 7 is the storage containers, back to plating. 8, 9, 10, 11. I think that's
That's it, it's just 3 of them.
okay. Okay. Committee report on pending legislation, finance.
Finance is favorable to proposed ordinance 4-2023, the 2023 Mill and Pave. Finance is also favorable to proposed ordinance 9-2023, the AFSCME contract. Finance is also favorable to proposed ordinance 10-2023, the Manpower. And finance is also favorable to proposed ordinance 11-2023, Firefighter contract, and proposed ordinance 206.
Resolution.
Or proposed resolution 206-2023, finance is favorable to the Aumiller Service Road. I think that's it.
That's it.
Economic development.
Okay, Economic development is favorable to proposed ordinance 08-2023, the Bucyrus Complex Storage. And that's
I
it.
think that's it. Service.
Service is favorable to the proposed resolution 205-2023, material bids for 2023.
And we also have plating for ordinance 7-2023 and 6-2023.
Yes, plating is favorable to proposed ordinance 06-2023, the setback ordinance. Also, plating is favorable to proposed ordinance 07-2023, the storage containers.
All right, and we have ordinance number 5, health and safety.
Health and safety is favorable to the repeal and replacement of codified ordinance 909.
Further consideration of pending legislation. Ordinance number 04-2023 for the second and third readings of proposed ordinance 04-2023. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the readings of the caption and text, and declare an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Wireman, a second by Mr. McKeever.
Wireball,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Potter. Sherrick,
Yes.
Spiegel,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance 04-2023?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Spiegel, a second by Mr. McKeever.
Spiegel,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Wireball,
Yes.
Potter, Sherrick,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Ordinance 04-2023 is duly adopted. Ordinance number 08-2023 for the second and third readings of proposed ordinance 08-2023. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the readings of the caption and text, and declare an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Myers, a second by Ms. Sherrick.
Myers.
Yes.
Sherrick,
Yes.
Spiegel,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Wireball,
Yes.
Potter.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance 08-2023?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Myers, a second by Mr. McKeever.
Myers,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Wireball,
Yes.
Potter, Sherrick,
Yes.
Spiegel,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Ordinance 08-2023 is duly adopted. Ordinance number 09-2023 for the second and third readings of proposed ordinance 09-2023. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the readings of the caption and text, and declare an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Sherrick, a second by Mr. Myers.
Sherrick,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Wireball,
Yes.
Potter, Spiegel,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance 09-2023?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Spiegel, a second by Mr. Myers.
Spiegel,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Wireball,
Yes.
Potter, Sherrick,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Ordinance 09-2023 is duly adopted. Ordinance 10-2023 for the second and third readings of proposed ordinance 10-2023. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the readings of the caption and text, and declare an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Wireball, a second by Mr. McKeever.
Wireball,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Potter, Sherrick,
Yes.
Spiegel,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance 10-2023?
So moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Sherrick, a second by Mr. Spiegel.
Sherrick,
Yes.
Spiegel,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Wireball,
Yes.
Potter.
Ordinance number 10-2023 is duly adopted. Ordinance number 11-2023 for the second and third readings of ordinance number 11-2023. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the readings of the caption and text, and declare an emergency?
So moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Sherrick, a second by Mr. Myers.
Sherrick,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Wireball.
Yes.
Potter, Spiegel,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance 11-2023?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Myers, a second by Ms. Sherrick.
Myers.
Yes.
Sherrick,
Yes.
Spiegel,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Wireball,
Yes.
Potter.
Ordinance number 11-2023 is duly adopted. Resolution 205-2023 for the second and third readings of Resolution 205-2023. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the readings of the caption and text, and declare an emergency?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Spiegel, a second by Mr. McKeever.
Spiegel,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Wireball,
Yes.
Potter, Sherrick,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed resolution 205-2023?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. McKeever, a second by Mr. Myers.
McKeever,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Wireball,
Yes.
Potter, Sherrick,
Yes.
Spiegel,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Resolution 205-2023 is duly adopted. Resolution 206-2023 for the second and third readings of proposed resolution 206-2023. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the readings of the caption and text, and declare an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. McKeever, a second by Mr. Wireball.
McKeever,
Yes.
Wireball,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Potter, Sherrick,
Yes.
Yes.
Spiegel, Young.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed resolution 206-2023?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Spiegel, a second by Mr. McKeever.
Spiegel,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Wireball,
Yes.
Potter, Sherrick,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Resolution 206-2023 is duly adopted. Do we have any old or unfinished business?
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Could I have Sarah introduce her guest? Would you?
Is that going to be new?
Well, it's,
Not anymore.
Okay, well, we're not doing any old and unfinished business, so how about new?
A new business, okay. Sarah Herrie is here from the Crawford Partnership and would like to say a couple words,
Excuse me.
introduce her guest tonight. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council and Madam President. I am Sharah Herrie with the Crawford Partnership. I am the Economic Development Coordinator, and I am here on behalf of David Zach, who was flying back from a vacation and the flight got delayed. But I wanted to introduce Jim Manos, who is opening the new storage unit for the legislation that was passed this evening. So if you guys had any questions for him or wanted to hear a little bit about the project, he's here this evening to share that with you.
How you doing? I'm Jim Manos. Thanks, Sarah and John and David Zach, and thank you for the opportunity to renovate that lumberyard
Thank you.
into a storage facility.
Does anybody have any questions?
I just want to say thanks for investing in Bucyrus.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're happy you're here.
Good.
Are you going to have somebody living there, or are you going to have just cameras and?
No, usually I have 4 facilities, and they're all unmanned facilities with surveillance and gates, fences, etc., barrel lock keys, etc. So we'll have a pretty intense surveillance with TVs and all kinds of stuff.
Awesome.
Are you going to can you store cars in there for the winter time?
We'll have larger units, yeah. We'll have a combination. There's going to be, to start, there'll be about 200 units. I'm sure you guys have been in the lumberyard years ago, but the front area or lobby area, that'll all be climate controlled. And then there's an offset of the front area that will have some larger units. And the back building will actually have no doors on it. You'll be able to drive through it. It has a mezzanine with steps, so you'll be able to get out of the elements. We'll have 2 lanes on each side. And then the south building will have all large, there'll be like 10 by 32 units with lofts, so you can actually get a couple cars. We call that flex space, so like a plumber, electrician will have, they can't supply their stuff at home or store it at home. I did apply for an Amazon drop. I have to be completed with the project before they allow that, but they don't pay it, but it'll be good for the community to have a local Amazon drop. And I do plan on expanding, putting RV carports and boat carports and some more buildings, so.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Question to the gentleman, if I may.
Yeah.
And Mr. Spiegel brought it up, which brings me back to old memory. He mentioned car storage and so on out there. You mentioned camera and surveillance and so on. Some of my old history's kicking in here. Is that equipped with alarm systems, fire suppression systems of any kind?
Yeah, the buildings are not large enough to be sprinkled, but yes, we do have alarms or smoke detectors, etc.
Okay. And for the council's memory, I'll remind you the arena at the fairgrounds several years ago.
Yep.
And the reason I wanted to ask, when those situations, especially when you have vehicles and stuff like that, by the time they take off, and you sometimes find out about them, it's well too late. But that's why I wondered what else if you had, since you're storing, talking about vehicles, gasoline, flammable materials, and so on. And I just want to bring that up with the council while we're here, how well that was protected or set up to notify the fire departments or the needed people should something happen out there.
Well,
Not that I have a problem with the story, by no means. But
yeah, I mean, in the lease agreement, we don't allow people to obviously reside there or store gas or.
Well, they didn't store it at the arena at the fairgrounds either. It was the fuel that was in
The vehicle.
motorhomes, the motorboats, the
Yeah.
vehicles, the gas tank.
We'll only have the one south back building will be large enough to put cars in. The other ones will not be accessible for cars. But outdoor we'll have, RVs, boats, etc.
And that would be diagrammed or maintained somehow so the fire department has an idea like, what's in different areas of the
Oh, yeah, it'll clearly be seen, yeah.
But not to interrupt the meeting, that was the only thing. I'm sitting up remembering the fairgrounds many years ago, and most of you are old enough, you remember what that was. It was the spectacle of Bucyrus for quite some time. So.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? All right. May I have a motion to excuse Mr. Potter?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. McKeever, a second by Mr. Myers. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so we have referrals. Jared Miller and Bill Stuckert to Property Maintenance Appeals Board to Health and Safety.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Myers, a second by Ms. Sherrick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We did the design work already. Don't need to do that one. Leasing of public lands to solar energy companies to buildings, public lands and buildings.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Myers, a second by Ms. Sherrick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And then I received an email and it escaped me. I did send it to you guys regarding a passenger rail feasibility in Ohio. It's from Kyle Hicks from the Strategic Public Partners. I'm reaching out to ask for support of Ohio's application to receive funding from the Corridor Identification Program, which could eventually lead to an Amtrak providing new passenger rail throughout the state of Ohio, and specifically near your community. According to Amtrak, one possible route connecting Cincinnati to Dayton to Columbus to Cleveland, 3C+D is what they're calling it, will generate $130 million in annual economic activity and $2.6 billion in economic opportunity for one-time investments. The federal government is offering Ohio full funding to conduct a study to see if passenger rail is feasible, but the state government must apply for this money before March 20th. If you're interested in supporting this effort, we're compiling signatures of elected officials and local community leaders in a joint signatory letter to be sent to Governor DeWine, ODOT Director Marchbanks, and ORDC Executive Director Dietrich, imploring them to accept the funding from the Corridor Identification Program. And I did forward that to you as well, the sample letter, but I would like to refer that to Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. McKeever, a second by Ms. Sherrick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam President?
Yes, sir.
In regards to that topic, would it be possible to request that the clerk could prepare a letter to present to us on Thursday that we could all sign on to, as well as if we're going to discuss that this Thursday, see if we could reach out to Representative Ord McLean, who chairs the transportation, he's the chair of the Transportation Committee.
That would be wonderful.
And he could probably give us some more insight into the proposed projects and what it could mean to us here locally.
Okay, thank you, that's a good idea. Yeah. All right, anybody have anything else?
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
I want to congratulate Kaylee for making it through her first meeting, and welcome. The first of many in a long career. We wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more thing.
Yes.
I forgot to mention, Rotary Pancake Day is Saturday at the high school. It's always a great event.
And they're having dancers at 10 o'clock in the
Yes,
morning.
yes, Martha Duff's Dance Studio, and it'll be always fun, a big crowd. Come on out.
What time does that start?
7 o'clock.
Goes till when? Noon?
I think it's new, and there's carryout also available,
It's
so.
not only the pancake day, it's
And
pancake
at 10
and
a.m. you'll have
sausage
dancers
day.
on
Pancake and
stage.
sausage day, excuse me. Yeah, tickets at the door or from any Rotary member.
All right. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Madam President? may
Yes,
I
sir.
Just serve my 3 minutes.
Sure, sure.
I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible, and you guys all know that's enough for me. I was asked the other day at a committee meeting if I could be counted on as a support for the police department levy. And I assured them this is one vote they will have. That's my background. The one thing that has kind of bothered me, though, And I'd like to address the ladies and gentlemen of the council and Mr. Mayor. I'm lacking some information, but it's really not my place to be actually seeking it out. I want this to be transparent. Mr. Wireman, my understanding is the police levy is an income levy, am I correct?
The safety forces levy?
The safety forces levy?
The 1/4%.
Or it's a
Or the
1/4%
1/4%.
income levy?
Income tax.
It's a
It's an
1/4%
income tax.
levy.
So to make this very transparent, I'm retired. So an income tax levy isn't going to affect me. So I'm found in kind of a tough spot here. I don't want really talk on behalf of people that are going to pay this tax. But the one thing that I have noticed, and I'm going back in memory here when we built the new jail, I am presuming, and I don't know this for a fact, this safety forces levy had the entire support of the entire council, am I correct? It was voted for. But I'm not hearing any activity as to the efforts being made to pass this levy. I'm not hearing of any, Mr. Mayor, and don't anybody take anything personal because I'm trying to make this quick. I know I'm very limited on time. Or any of the other council members of approaching meetings, and this meeting you just talked about coming up at Rotary, did you say, Mr. Mayor?
Oh, the pancake.
The pancake breakfast, stuff like that, where council members or the mayor or the chief of police should be at. This is where you need to sell this tax levy. This is not a fishing expedition where you throw the hook out and you reel it in and you hope you catch a few fish as you reel it back in. You are trying to sell something. You're trying to sell it to the citizens of the city of Bucyrus. You're trying to sell it to them at an extremely tough time. Finances are tight for everybody. You've got to sell those people why we need this. Why do we need it? All right, 1 minute. I heard Mr. McKeever at the meeting talk about what would be looking at in May if it doesn't pass. But even if it did pass, August kind of came up in conversation. So the only thing I'm here to mention to the council, and having seen what the county went through, and I saw what the county commissioners went through, I saw what the sheriff went through, to get that through in how many meetings. Now, I know that was countywide, but I am seriously suggesting, not for outsiders, it's not where you go to the neighbor and say, you know, you should vote for this, or this is a good thing. You have got to get out and get the entire public informed why the city is in a financial jam. How bad are you in a financial jam? And why do we need the money for our safety forces? Especially the police department and so on, however it's set up. You're going to get hit with a lot of questions, but you do need to get out and see those people. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a committee that's formed? Or anybody that's...
This was a council initiative, so I mean, this was city council's initiative to put this on the ballot, so I think, you know, they would take the lead on it. That's what I was expecting them to do, so.
Okay, well, I guess we need to discuss that. Does that go into a committee on Thursday? Economic
I'm
development?
assuming it's in committee.
Finance?
Yeah. Finance asked for legislation, so I would assume we just send it, approve the levy back to Finance Committee and then talk about strategy at that point.
Could we form an ad hoc committee?
Could work. You could form an ad hoc.
I think that's a better approach. I think that's a much better approach.
Madam President, could I have just one more comment? The reason I'm here tonight to point this out, look at your date. You're headed toward the middle of February. You're not going to meet for 2 more weeks. The levy or the ballot this will be on will be the one in May, am I correct?
May 2nd, yeah.
You maybe have, by the time you get your heads together and stuff, maybe 10 weeks to get out and see the people and talk to them. That's why I thought it was important to get up here and at least voice my opinion on this.
Thank you.
Time will be on top of you before you know it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think,
Yeah.
Ad hoc committee?
Yep.
I think now would be the time to probably make a motion to do that. And then
I'll make a
we can-
motion to create an ad hoc committee for this,
Consisting of?
consisting of various members. We can't do the whole group, can we? I thought somebody said.
No,
that
we
that
can't
was-
do the whole group.
You're having a council meeting.
Right.
You can name 4 people.
Excuse me? No, wait a minute.
Before
No.
We
It
got,
has been said, an ad hoc committee can be any size group. There's no law stating
Whatever you
that.
got, why don't, stop, don't call it an ad hoc committee, just schedule a special council meeting on Thursday, following the regularly scheduled committee.
and
to
can we
discuss
please
all we need to
invite the
discuss.
powers that be that are a part of this? Like if we could have the police chief and the fire chief
sure.
and the people who need to help us
Right.
with this, the
Just
mayor?
have a special meeting to discuss the tax levy, and you can invite whomever you want, but we would have to post that. And then you don't have to worry about how many people can sit around in a committee meeting without becoming a real meeting. It's called a real meeting.
And you will need your news media on board wherever you can bring them in.
Is that, Mr. Spiegel, is that your motion? I'll second that.
I didn't make a motion.
Well, I was the one
to begin
making the
with.
motion.
Oh.
Barry made the motion.
I'm glad
idea.
I mail again.
I will second that.
All right. All those in favor for a special council meeting after committee meetings on Thursday
So moved.
So moved.
to discuss the levy?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, I have on the table a motion from Mr. Myers. I need a second to adjourn.
There's McKeever and Sharah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So moved.
McKeever and Sherrick. We are adjourned at
8:18.
18?
8:18.
8:18.